James Bond has driven some of the most insane cars in movie history, but not all of them are equal. Some of them change cinema forever. Some of them have stories behind them that are almost too crazy to believe. Today, we're counting down the top 5 James Bond cars of all time. 5 different films, 5 different decades, 5 stories you need to hear. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, the Toyota 2000 GT from You Only Live Twice in 1967. And this one doesn't get nearly enough credit. Only 351 Toyota 2000 GTs were ever produced. That makes it rarer than an Aston Martin DB5. It was Japan's first true supercar, and it was introduced to the world through a James Bond film. But here's the story most people don't know. The 2000 GT was originally a hardtop coupe. Sean Connery was too tall to sit comfortably in the car with the roof on. So at short notice, Toyota hand-built a special open-top roadster version just for this film. Those two convertibles were never sold to the public, never put into production, built purely because Bond needed headroom. Today, original Toyota 2000 GTs regularly sell for over $1 million at auction. The Bond convertible versions would go for considerably more, if they ever came up for sale. No gadgets, no Q-branch weapons. Just one of the most beautiful cars ever made, built on a deadline because Sean Connery couldn't fit inside. That's a Bond story. Number 4, the Aston Martin DB10 from Spectre in 2015, the most exclusive Bond car ever made. Aston Martin built exactly 10 of these. 8 went to the film, 2 were show cars. That's it. The general public could not buy one at any price. Director Sam Mendes unveiled it at Pinewood Studios and introduced it as, and this is a real quote, the first cast member. In the film, the DB10 was originally assigned to Agent 009, not Bond. Bond steals it from Q's workshop and takes it to Rome. He gets into a chase with Spectre assassin Mr. Hinks, tries to use the rear machine gun, and finds out it has no ammunition loaded. Another button plays music. He eventually escapes using flamethrowers hidden in the exhaust pipes and an ejector seat with a parachute, before the DB10 sinks into the Tiber River. One of those 2 show cars was sold at Christie's auction in February 2016 for £2.4 million. A car that was never sold to the public. A car that lasted about 10 minutes on screen. £2.4 million. The DB10 also served as a preview of where Aston Martin was heading. Its design directly influenced the DB11 and the next generation Vantage. Mendes didn't just put a car in a movie, he put the future of Aston Martin on screen. Number 3, the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish from Die Another Day in 2002. Pierce Brosnan's final Bond film, and the car they nicknamed the Vanish. Q introduces it to Bond at a secret MI6 facility hidden inside a London Underground station. And the headline feature is something no Bond car had ever done before: adaptive camouflage. Tiny cameras mounted all around the car project the image they capture onto a light-emitting polymer skin on the opposite side. The result? The car becomes virtually invisible. Beyond that, the Vanquish came loaded: machine guns that pop up from the hood vents, rockets behind the grille, spike dispensers on the tires, target-seeking shotguns, and a passenger ejector seat. The car also had a female voice system that delivered periodic damage reports, the same voice used in the BMW 750iL from Tomorrow Never Dies. The standout sequence is a chase across the frozen lakes of Iceland against a Jaguar XKR driven by villain Zhao. Bond uses every gadget, including flickering in and out of invisibility mid-chase on the ice. Here's a detail most people miss. The production Vanquish had a V12 engine and rear-wheel drive, but the actual cars used for filming were fitted with a Ford-sourced V8 and 4-wheel drive, because they needed the extra traction to perform on ice. Pierce Brosnan loved this car so much, he bought his own personal Vanquish after filming. He owned it for 13 years before it was destroyed in a house fire in 2015. Number 2, the BMW 750iL from Tomorrow Never Dies in 1997. the most underrated car in Bond history. On the outside, it looks like a conservative luxury sedan, exactly what you'd expect Bond's cover as a British banker to drive. But Q Branch loaded this thing with everything: a fingerprint-protected safe hidden behind the passenger airbag, an electric shock security system for intruders, caltrops under the rear bumper, a roof-mounted rocket launcher, self-sealing tires, and a cable cutter built into the hood emblem. But the feature that sets this car apart from everything else on this list: Bond controls the entire car remotely from his Ericsson cell phone, from the back seat. He's lying flat, dodging bullets, navigating a multi-story parking garage using a phone with an LCD trackpad. That sequence was filmed at Brent Cross Shopping Centre in London using 17 BMWs, 4 of which were specially built so a hidden driver could operate them from the rear seat. The car eventually gets launched off the roof of the garage by remote control and crashes into an Avis rental shop below. In a deleted scene, Bond's explanation to the crowd standing there was, "Left the keys in the car." 1997, remote-controlled car via cell phone. People forget how far ahead of its time that concept was. This car doesn't get the respect it deserves. Number 1, no debate, the Lotus Esprit S1 from The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977. The car that turned into a submarine, Roger Moore's Bond, and this is the moment that defined what a Bond car could be. The Esprit's wedge shape was already one of the most striking designs on the road. For the film, the production team brought in Perry Oceanographic of Florida, a firm that built underwater craft for the US Navy, to construct a functional submarine using Esprit body shells. 7 different versions of the car were built for the film, each serving a specific purpose. The actual underwater submersible was piloted during filming by a former US Navy SEAL named Don Griffin. The gadgets were absurd in the best possible way: surface-to-air missiles, cement dispensers hidden behind the license plate, torpedoes, depth charges, and a periscope built into the roof. Bond drives the car off a pier. It hits the water, the wheels retract, fins extend, and that's it. Submarine. When it drives back out of the ocean onto a beach full of stunned tourists, Bond tosses out a fish and keeps driving. That single moment is everything James Bond is supposed to be. Now here's where the story gets completely unbelievable. After filming wrapped, the submarine prop was put into a storage unit on Long Island, New York, with the lease prepaid for 10 years. When the lease expired, nobody from the production came to claim it. The contents went to a public auction. The buyer paid less than $100 for the entire unit, with no idea what was inside. In 2013, that same submarine sold at auction for £550,000. The buyer was Elon Musk, who purchased it with plans to convert it into an actual functional car submarine. A storage unit, less than $100, £500,000. Elon Musk. That's not just the greatest Bond car story. That might be the greatest car story ever told. That's the top 5 James Bond cars of all time. Drop a comment. Do you agree with number 1? Or is there a Bond car we left off that should have made the list? This is Motor Archive, where the most iconic cars in history come to life. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.